That's my positron glider or whatever. So I'm here to review Ghostbusters 2. And, as I said in the last, this probably won't be as long a review. As I said in the last video, I recently acquired this 29-year-old piece of video store history, which is a mini standee for the VHS and beta release of Ghostbusters from the video store. 29-year-old piece of whatever historic art for the promotional material for the movie. I got this within the last week, probably not even 7 days ago yet, and that prompted rewatching Ghostbusters. And then I thought, well, I might as well watch 2. Then I wanted to review it, but I'm like, I can't review 1 and not 2. So then I made myself watch 2. So Ghostbusters 2 came out, I'm pretty sure, 5 years later after Ghostbusters, which is kind of weird, really, if you think about it. Like, given the success of this movie, you would have thought it would have come out 2 years later or even a year later, but for whatever reason, it didn't. And I was, what's interesting is, when you're young, 5 years is a long time. So I made a huge, in between the release of the first movie and the second movie, I've gone from whatever, Ghostbusters and He-Man, not that I really, watched, well, I guess I watched, I don't think I really gave it much of a shit about He-Man. What did I like when before I got into horror? I don't know. I can't even remember what I liked, I liked Voltron, which of course isn't even Voltron, it's like Go Lion, but, so I like stuff, I guess. But so by the time you're like 1989, this came out theatrically in the summer of 1989. I mean, it was all about frickin' Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, I was like past the Ghostbusters thing, and, I was trying to think. I watched Ghostbusters 2 last night, rewatched it, and I was trying to think, when I did see it for the first time. I don't think we saw it first. We may have seen it second run, in its theatrical release, but I don't know. There wasn't a lot of interest for me to even see it. That's how much, I changed between the release of the first one and the second one, because it was all about Jason Takes Manhattan and Batman in 1989 for me, So, I've seen this a couple times. I think it was 2005 or something. They put out this DVD set of 1 and 2, and I got that, and that's how I have 2, just on DVD. And I was watching it last night. I think it was last night, right? And I was like, every time I see it, which isn't very often, luckily, I like how it starts with it's like 5 years later. And what I like how it starts is like, same song, which is cool. It's like and the thing, the ectomobile, what's it called? Whatever. The ambulance thing is racing, whatever, and it's all like, exhaust coming out of it, and you're like, what the hell? And you find out that they're racing, and it's like, how many are there? How tall are they? And it's like this tall, and it's like, oh my god. And then it was a kind of a cool thing to be like, oh, the Ghostbusters are just doing birthday parties, or, and that was really cool. I think that was a really cool way to begin it, where it's just like, Ray and, what's the guy's, Ernie Hudson's name? Well, that's his name. We'll just call him, is it Winston Zeddemore? So Ray and Winston are relegated to just, Ghostbusters are broke up, Ray and Winston are relegated to just doing birthday parties. And I love how it's like, this part of the movie is like way ahead of its time. I love how they put on the tape of the song, which of course is 5 years old and just like old news by the time, and it's like, and they're actually, it's kind of like a Kevin Williamson moment, where it's like they're actually dancing to the song at the party, and the kids are just like, we want He-Man, or whatever the kids say, and the kids aren't having it. And that, I really liked that whole aspect of the beginning of the movie. And then it's just like, I just like, that's it. And then the movie falls apart after that. It's just like, first of all, like the Sigourney Weaver, having split up with Bill Murray and having gotten married and divorced and having a baby. I swear that this movie, all I see in the whole movie is baby. I swear it's like 90, or not 90, like 60 minutes total screen time of baby in this movie. And I'm not, I'm not I don't like, well, I'll just say it. I don't like babies, and even though, I was probably once a baby, maybe, so what? I'm not a big baby fan. Like, I don't really, I don't look at a baby and, I'm a male. So I don't look at a baby and go, ooh, woogie, 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 woogie. I just go, ugh, shoot. So that's a big thing about this movie that I don't like, is just the fact that, they're all so goody-goody at the end, like Sigourney and Bill Murray, and it's just like the movie, they're just like, it's like Jurassic Park 3 and Sam Neill and Laura Dern's characters, they're just split up, and it's just like, well, that's a bummer. And they spend the whole movie trying to, like, are we going to get back together? I don't know. This movie is just, to me, it's a disaster. And this stupid painting, the guy in the painting, I think, is stupid. The guy that runs the art museum, I think, is stupid. I think that the humor in the first movie, for me, was, like I say, non-corporate human humor. This movie, I don't even know if there's humor in it. Some of the humor is so stupid, and it should be noted that, unlike the first movie, which Dan Aykroyd is the first credit and Harold Ramis follows as the second credit of writer, it's reversed for this one, where Harold Ramis is first and Dan Aykroyd is second, which could be why, for me, this movie isn't as good. I think a lot of the humor is just like, oh my God. If that's what really is, if it is really humor. And the thing I don't like is, of course, updating it to like this, ice, vanilla ice rap. I know it's not vanilla ice, but, this rap shit, and it's just like, I don't know how it's, I don't know how the rap goes, but just all this, like, we've got to take control. And it's just like, oh my God. So, I don't know, maybe, shoot. I suppose I'll go 2 stars. It's more like, I can't finalize. It's more like somewhere between 1 3/4 stars and 2, somewhere in between there. For me, there's very little that's actually enjoyable, and I think a lot of the humor, if you can call it that, for me, is forced, and it's just like, oh my God. And it's almost a remake in a weird way of the first one, where they get instead of arrested, that towards the end they get committed to the third act, beginning of the third act, and it's just like, then the mayor's got to go, give me the Ghostbusters, and it's just like, it is just a retreading, a very much more unsuccessful retreading of the first one for me. The only thing that I thought was kind of cool at the time, and still think is one of the coolest things about the movie, is the sliming and actually remote controlling of the Statue of Liberty, which was a pretty cool, and probably at the time a pretty epic kind of an idea and a scene. And I will give them props for the the controlling and remote controlling of the Statue of Liberty, which is funny because if you look at the end, it's like after they get inside and they come out and stuff, it's just like laying down on the ground, and it's just like they don't show what happened, like how they parked the Statue of Liberty, and it's like, how are they gonna, I suppose they just slime it and walk it back, they don't tell you how they got it back, but they slime it and walk it back. So, some of the new things about this movie is that new slime, which of course reacts to, whether it's positively charged or negatively charged, it reacts to emotions and stuff. And one thing that's kind of cool is the first, just like I say about the remake aspect of the first one, this movie's got 2 main, as far as I can remember, ghost-busting scenes as well, where you got pretty much, and I bet you anything in the first one happens exactly at the same time it does in the first movie, where the courtroom scene, where they get the ghosts that come out of the 2 people. He's the judge sent to the electric chair, the 2 ghosts, I should say. Well, they weren't ghosts before they were anyway. One thing that was kind of cool is when they put the positron gliders on over their suits. It was kind of a cool new look, in the courtroom scene, instead of them being in their whatever they're usually in. You know, they had their backpacks over the suits, so that was a kind of a cool new look. And there was a couple cool new gadgets in the slime shooters that I believe Ray and Winston used to shoot up slime on the Statue of Liberty. So there was some couple of cool new gadgets, and oh my gosh, but not enough to warrant the making of this movie. And what happened to the relationship between like Janine and Egon, by the way? All of a sudden Janine's going for whatever the hell Rick Moranis' character is, and stuff like that. And way too much baby. Baby in jeopardy, baby blah blah blah. Sigourney Weaver, you know, for me the characters really aren't interesting in this movie. It's just like, and I remember back, I think, I don't know, whether it was 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was talk, and there was talk about, you know, doing a part 3, which of course now you can't do with, now that Harold Ramis has went on to the land of eternal nothing. You can't really do one, but I guess the video game was kind of like a part 3. I have it and played some of it when it came out. You know, I usually get bored with games and don't finish them, but what I did play of the game was kind of cool. So like, you know, the Back to the Future game, Matt says, is much like Back to the Future 4. The game was, you know, you got all the people coming back to do their voices and stuff, so that was a kind of a part 3 in a way. But I guess I'm just as you know, glad that they didn't do a Ghostbusters 3, because, you know, 2 was bad enough. 2 was bad enough. So I think, well, I guess I talked a lot more about this movie than I thought I would, so my apologies for that, and that'll do it for my review of Ghostbusters 2. Just saying Ghostbusters 2, I just almost get depressed. Thanks for watching.